What's up, everybody? Welcome back to part two of the story of my cancer journey that will eventually lead to the story of Infinite Motive. I have my laptop today just because there's so much information that when you're going through the treatment, you have everything memorized, you know all of the plans, you know what to tell your doctors and your nurses. Once you get some distance from treatment, you start to lose the names of different medications you were on, and I think that's all normal. You're in survival mode, you have all the details on lock when you're going through it, and as you get some distance between and you start your survivorship, it's probably going to start to fall off a little bit, which is probably a good thing. You don't need all these things memorized forever. So let's get into it. This is basically today we're going to go over my induction at Summerlin Hospital, which is the first round of chemo that I went through. I went through what is called a 7+3. It's, from my understanding, a pretty normal regimen for people going through an aggressive form of leukemia. 7+3 means basically you're getting 7 days of nonstop chemo of a chemotherapy called cytarabine, and then you're going to have also the +3, which is idarubicin, also known as the Red Devil. For obvious reasons, it's, I think, the highest dose, most potent chemotherapy that's offered. The entire purpose behind this chemo regimen is to completely knock out any cancer from your body. While doing this, you are also going to be effectively killing all of your blood cell counts and getting yourself as close to base level, or I guess I should say, I don't want to say death, but I mean, you're basically bringing yourself down to zero so that you can hope for a healthy cell regeneration. So through this process, like I said in the previous part, I went in immediately to get a chest port implanted. The purpose of the chest port is that your veins typically through like an IV line couldn't handle such a poisonous drug because it'll damage or collapse the veins. A chest port is implanted as a place where they can directly have the medication going into your heart. It's a piece that they'll be accessed, and the medication will go from a tube that goes directly into your heart rather than through your veins, the standard way when you imagine IVs. So first was that process of getting that implanted. The next, I guess early morning, I started chemotherapy of the 7+3 regimen. I was given a packet of what to expect. I think everybody, when they think of chemotherapy, thinks nausea, the general side effects that you see in movies and that type of thing, hair loss. With this type of treatment, there was hair loss. It has to be a high enough dose for that to occur. Just to give an idea of how dangerous this substance, idarubicin or idomycin, is, if I am the one being treated and I use the restroom and I've been treated with this chemo, I have to flush twice, because if I only flush once and then my caretaker goes in and uses the restroom, the chemicals from that can damage their body, and that kind of gives you an idea of just how dangerous these chemicals that we're working with are. And granted, they serve a purpose. You want to kill all the cancer in your body to give yourself a fighting chance. For those of you that don't know, the idea behind leukemia is that the cells that are being generated in your bone marrow are cancerous. There's different forms of this. Mine was acute myeloid leukemia, and acute means it's going to be aggressive, versus a chronic issue is something that will appear over time, so you'll hear of chronic leukemia as well. Mine happens to be a very aggressive form. I needed to start treatment immediately and be hit with the highest doses that we could to give myself the best chance of survival. The side effects that I went through were ranging from the worst headaches that I've ever experienced in my life to vomiting, nausea, extreme fatigue to a level that I've never experienced before. I remember the day after I started, I woke up and it was time for breakfast, and I couldn't so much as raise my head, let alone trying to eat food or do any kind of walking or anything like that. I was pretty much immobilized for that day after. It's one thing to be explained what the side effects are and how it looks. Even from a caretaker perspective, they see how much you're suffering more than somebody that's just getting a generalized idea or seeing things in movies. It's again just a necessary evil for what needs to take place. The entire thing is a roller coaster. I mean, since I said in the previous part, I didn't have a lot of time to process it, so I was just diving right into this heavy chemo process while trying to balance the social part of all these people finding out that I've been diagnosed. Obviously, people want to visit and show their support, and you will deal from everything from that to people that will entirely fall off and never contact you again. That's just the complex dealings of something like cancer, is what I believe, or probably a lot of hard things in life can cause, just an immediate disconnect that people don't know what else to do, and enough time passes that contact is lost. Anyway, I at the same time was obviously very concerned that I had a mortgage to pay that was not, I was no longer working. I was fortunate enough to be working for a company that took care of my medical needs all the way throughout the process, never questioned any of it, and were helpful in checking on me throughout the entire process. I really wish I knew how people that don't have a solid support system could survive or get through something like this. It takes a team of people to really make sure that everything's getting done while you're just focused on trying to survive the treatment. And in my situation, I am very fortunate to have parents that were there throughout the process, extended family that was coming to visit, and as I said in the previous part, my sister and her husband are doctors, and ironically enough were in residency and rotations in Texas, which is where I ended up getting the prolonged treatment that I would go into later parts. But so for as far as induction goes, this was the initial round that they hit me with, and we're learning on the fly. My mom's obviously Googling all the different information that she can about how this is treated, what's the best way to help your immune system. And at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot you can do because the toll of the chemotherapy needs to be part of the process in order to get you to zero and hopefully beat the cancer. You will experience things like neutropenia. You won't be able to have anything that's uncooked. Any raw vegetables or fruits is a no-go. You can't have plants or flowers or anything brought into your room because all of these could attack your immune system and cause issues. And you're practically sitting there in a hospital bed without an immune system. And everything is a very high risk. So you are basically, for the 33 days that I spent in the hospital, you're staying on that leukemia floor. Any movement you do is going to be just walking laps in the halls to just keep lung function up and just your general fitness as much as you can. So you're doing laps in the hall. If you can't move at all, you're gonna have to do the air respirator exercises. Everything will become an absolute chore, and conquering daily tasks that used to be mindless will become the most difficult things in your life, whether it be eating meals, taking showers, changing your clothes. All the things that you take for granted generally are going to become huge obstacles for you going through treatment, and there's no way around that. Unfortunately, it's just part of the process. the 33 days I spent, I was allowed minimal visitors. Of course, they want you masked up and covered up if you're going to come visit me. I had people from work, family and friends, all come show support, and I really can't say enough about how important that aspect is in continuing your fight and not losing hope. The most difficult part of the process for me was watching my parents go through it, and you would think that through all the suffering and everything that you're going to deal with individually, if you are with a support system that you care about, watching them suffer is going to hurt way more than any of the chemotherapy or the treatments that you'll go through. Throughout the process of the 33 days, you're going to be continuously monitored for your blood counts going down as you want them to be going down because they're destroying the cells. You're going to be monitored for just about everything. They'll be scanning everything. You'll be going through tests all the time. They tell you how important rest is, but ultimately you're left with very little resting time because there's always something being tested. They're coming in every hour for blood pressure. The blood tests are usually at an ungodly hour, early in the morning. They're gonna come around early in the morning to make you stand on a scale. They're gonna make you take medication at different times that are gonna cause you to have to wake up for that. And this is all just the general treatment plan without all the things that can go wrong in terms of infections, body reactions, these types of things. Throughout treatment, because of how low your counts are going to go, you will be getting blood transfusions and platelet transfusions to make sure that you can stay at a level where you'll be able to keep surviving ultimately. I think that one of the most incredible days that I experienced was getting through the 33 days, and I remember coming down to out front of Summerlin Hospital and just sitting on a bench and realizing that I hadn't experienced fresh air, I hadn't experienced looking at grass or plants in general, life taking place around you. It definitely gives you a level of gratitude and perspective that you never could have considered, and you will start to feel a sense of detachment from general society because of what you've experienced now and the fact that they couldn't possibly understand unless they've been through it as well. It's going to be something that you have to hone your mindset a certain way to make sure that you can handle all of this, because it never goes away and you never get your old life back. All that happens is you ultimately get a new version of your life, and how you take that is ultimately going to be up to you. I again can't say enough about how important a support system is. If it's not family, hopefully close friends, co-workers, whatever it has to be to help you get through it, because there's just going to be times where you alone are going to be wanting to give up and you're going to feel like you're out of options, and that's definitely part of what helped me. I think what I went through, there was a time period where you would think, watch shows or listen to music or these types of things that could help get your mind off of it, but it got to the point for me where everything was just dreadful. I didn't want to hear music, I didn't want to talk to anybody, I didn't want to watch TV or movies or play video games. It all just becomes so dreadful, and so you're in so much pain that it's not something that can be fixed with these entertainments from the outside. I think that's most of covering induction. Obviously the emotions that you're going to go through, you're going to You're going to be in shock and disbelief, and I've compared it to having a car accident that you're experiencing every day. It's just you're getting whipped around, you have no choice in the matter, and then you're left with this aftermath and looking around shell-shocked, trying to figure out what happened, how you're going to cope with it. And I think one of the best mechanisms you can do is making sure that you bring light to other people around you, because your suffering is eating away at them, and if you're going to constantly be down, they will be too. And the opportunity that you have as a patient is changing your mindset in a way that could ultimately change theirs, and the entire experience for everybody will be improved. It might be marginal and you still have to go through all these bad things, but it will be easier with a positive vibe, so to speak, than just constantly being a drag. Medications wise, you're going to experience a long list that I have here just for my induction. It's going to be a lot of muscle relaxers, antibiotics, a lot of just preventative medications that you're going to be on consistently due to your immune system being so low, and needing help out from that. Obviously, pain medications. One of the, I guess, downsides you could say to, at least with leukemia, I can't speak for all cancers, but because they need to make sure that nothing is masked through your pain medication for anything that could be going wrong, you're very limited in terms of how much you can be dosed pain medication, and that's kind of regardless of how much pain you're experiencing, they're going to keep you pretty limited. That's an unfortunate part of this disease and part of what makes this such a challenging experience to go through. Ultimately, after 33 days, I still was likely to experience my cancer returning, and unfortunately that was just the reality of the type of mutation that I had. At that point, we needed to start making plans for where we could look at a place that would do a bone marrow transplant, because they didn't have it available in Nevada. And from that point, my mom started researching best cancer centers, where to go, and MD Anderson was noted as the best by just about everyone. And like I said, ironically enough, my sister and her husband were already living out there for residency. And in terms of a horrible situation, having things go right, this was pretty major. We had complete chaos in terms of us having to do something with our house, my place that I had just bought, and we basically upped and moved everything. My dad packed up the house, and next thing I knew, we were after I think 2 or 3 days at home returning from Summerlin Hospital, we were on our next adventure, going to MD Anderson and living in Houston. So I think that's where we'll stop on this part. I think that the rest of it will go in part 3 about the treatment situation in MD Anderson and what I experienced there. I hope this is informational for everybody. I hope this helps you guys. Go ahead and like, share, and follow. InfiniteMotive.com is the website. I would love it if you guys would comment down below. Tell us how your experience went with cancer, how you got diagnosed. If you guys have any questions or comments, please, I'm open to interact with everybody about this, and hopefully spread the word, unite the fight, and spread cancer awareness with Infinite Motive. Thanks a lot, everybody. Hope you have a great day.